It's rare for NBA teams to make any meaningful adjustments late in a playoff series. By the time Game 7 rolls around, coaches have played their best cards, opponents have seen those cards and countered, and then everyone kind of just runs out of moves. But none of those teams had Alex Caruso. Caruso checked into Game 7 in the first quarter and immediately matched up with Nikola Jokic, which, wait, that has to be some sort of mistake because Caruso's listed at 6'5", 186 pounds, and Jokic is 6'11", and 284 pounds. Before we see why this works, let's understand how crazy this idea is just based on this series alone. In the opening game, the Thunder guarded Jokic with Chet Holmgren, who's a 7-footer but clocks in at just 208 pounds. So Joker could use his size to overpower Chet and get to his sweet spots. After that first game, the Thunder countered by keeping one of their beefier bigs on Jokic at basically all times, either 250 pounds of Isaiah Hartenstein or 240 pounds of Jay Will, that's the other Jalen Williams, who is basically built like a brick wall. With a sturdier big man in front of Jokic, OKC sent extra defenders into his airspace. Lou Dort's just feigning an all-out double, Chet creeps over under the hoop, and Joker no-looks it right out of bounds. And you might be thinking, why did he do that? And it's because the Thunder are so fast that telegraphing passes is asking for interceptions, and then the OKC defense becomes its best offense in transition, and that's in the back of Joker's mind. This is from Game 1, he has plenty of space to pound into Chet, and the Thunder never send a help defender. But after that game, they started sending bodies toward Joker. J-Dub starts lurking and feigning a double team. At the same time, Caruso leaves Russell Westbrook to come help in the lane, then doubles as J-Dub leaves, so Westbrook's the open man, but that's a scary pass, so he ends up with a contested fadeaway. A minute later, they're on the opposite block. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander slides to clog the baseline. Caruso lurks at the foul line. Again, they just ignore Westbrook in the corner, and OKC was happy to live with that shot. So by matching him with a hefty defender and then mixing all kinds of possible double or triple teams from every direction, the Thunder bottled up Jokic like no one ever has. They forced him into 3 of the worst statistical games of his entire prime, with at least 6 turnovers in each of these contests. He shot under 33% from the field in all 3 games, and most importantly, they took away Jokic's cutters with speed and Chet Holmgren roaming behind the play. Joker had more turnovers than assists in Game 2 through 4, and it's hard to overstate how much OKC's speed killed all of his passing options. He usually carves teams up with his passes from the elbow, but even when Christian Braun slips this, Jalen Williams sticks to him like he's Deion Sanders. We've seen Jokic head to the post and then dime up a cutter after catching it 100 times. But against the Thunder, those passing routes were jammed or intercepted. And they even neutralized Denver's pet handoff actions out of the corner by either switching or fighting through screens, and then all of their quick defenders can stay with penetrators like this. Caruso takes away a possible backdoor pass, and then absolutely nobody can get open, and that's close to a coverage sack before a foul. So clearly the Thunder's mix of size and speed solved Nikola Jokic. Except, of course, it didn't, because greatness, that's why.
No, I'm simply saying that
Jokic
finds a way.
Jokic responded with one of the great games of his career, a 44-point, 81% true shooting masterpiece where the man started off by just finding the smallest cracks to exploit and then turned that momentum into some video game shot making, including the coldest, nastiest spinning Sombor shuffle ever to tie it at 103. He figured out the rare spots he could occasionally sliver a pass through to a teammate, and he learned over the course of the series when not to try it against OKC's speed. That's too dangerous with Shai sitting there, so he holds it. But when it's someone who doesn't play the passing lanes well, like Isaiah Joe, he lasers it by his ear for a layup. He also adjusted by going early and quickly moving it if the defense started to load up on him. And then if he could, he would look to make a scoring move before they could even send doubles, spinning away from the help for a lefty hook here. How is Caruso going to guard Jokic? Ooh, are we back with a sponsor read? Yeah, but I've never seen AC in person. Why don't you ever bring me with you? Let's talk about that later. Why? What's wrong with right now? Right now, I've got this Caruso fever, and the only cure is SeatGeek. They've got everything. Concerts, baseball, NHL and NBA playoffs are going on. There is nothing in the world like sitting close to NBA action with playoff intensity. And they have color coding, so you know these green seats are great. I love when they have the little picture from the seat too. It's also buyer guaranteed, so you know what you're getting. There are no hidden fees. Tickets are rated from 1 to 10, and they even have these little notes with more information in there. Once you buy your ticket, you scan it at the gate, and you are good to go. Do I get one of those channel discounts? Of course, you get 10% off with the code THINKING10. Just click the link in the description to download the app, and our code will automatically be loaded for you to use later. There were a ton of subplots throughout this series, like the Thunder clogging up Jokic's actions by ignoring Russell Westbrook and just daring him to make threes. Or how the Thunder were afraid of Jokic's roll game, so after he set a screen, his defender remained glued to him while other Thunder players helped. And this meant when someone like Jamal Murray played pick and roll with Joker, he had space to attack because the big man stayed with Jokic. Joker's gravity as a screener became a key part in helping Murray. Remember that, it'll be super important in a second, because the Thunder were often relying on the guard to fight over the screen and have help roaming at the rim, and even that opened a Murray jumper in Game 6. But the most interesting development was hunting a switch against Chet Holmgren so he could use his power to punish him. Going after Chet like this killed two birds with one stone. The first is more obvious. It took one of those beefy bigs off of Jokic so he could just pound the slender Chet into the basket. But the second's more subtle. It pulled Holmgren away from the hoop so he couldn't roam the paint as a shot blocker behind the play. There were a few times when OKC was able to protect Chet. Jokic calls for Holmgren's man to come set a pick. Caruso sees this and tells him to switch to avoid Jokic, and because it's Westbrook, there's no advantage. Joker tries to force the switch as a screener, but they just go under and let Russ shoot. And that was almost as good as his pre-switch in Game 4 from the other side of the floor, where Caruso just teleports to switch out onto Murray, then he can harass him, and fittingly, Chet is behind the play to protect the rim. The Bald Mamba played tricks with Jokic all series, briefly doubling or not doubling, or doubling, who knows, joke's on you, he's playing the pass. Or the time Caruso pretended to double Jokic on the inbounds just to bait him into a touch pass, and Joker must have had nightmares about this 185-pound pest after some of these games, even picking up an offensive foul in Game 2 when Caruso fronted him in transition. Jokic then responded in Game 4 by trying to manipulate Caruso first, faking the pass here to free the one-armed Michael Porter Jr. for three. And this culminated in Game 6, where Holmgren came over to help on Joker's roll, leaving Caruso on the block. So Jokic went to hit the corner, AC went to close out, but it's a fake, only Caruso recovers to still block it anyway. How? So, despite looking like he has absolutely no business guarding Jokic directly, Mark Daigneault figured if the man is this dialed in off the ball, why not try him as Jokic's primary defender? His speed prevents Joker from catching it. Then look at what happens. Holmgren is on Aaron Gordon, and he ends up smothering Murray's jumper. So the idea is for Caruso to front Jokic in the post and take away entry passes. They can sag off Westbrook to box Joker in, and this activates OKC's vaunted small ball lineup that we covered at the beginning of the season and is one of the best teams in NBA history at either forcing turnovers or just turning defense into offense with their blazing speed. And last, but certainly not least, is that Caruso on Jokic kills the two-man game with Murray, because the Thunder can switch the action, and with Westbrook in the game, an extra defender can roam to box in Joker and make entry passes a roller coaster. And remember, this is nearly an identical philosophy to what JJ Redick and the Lakers cooked up a few months ago by denying Jokic the ball by using speed, only the Thunder are on a different astral plane than any team maybe ever when it comes to flying around the floor in these coordinated dances and getting their hands on the ball to steal it. For instance, Caruso switches the pick and roll, then he immediately goes and scram switches SGA away from Jokic. With Westbrook in the game, they keep two defenders on Joker. Then when the ball hits Russ, Caruso jams his cut, and the entry pass becomes an adventure. Usually, it's a big man protecting guards and switching them out of these matchups. But for OKC, it's the 185-pound Caruso rescuing the 7-foot Holmgren from wrestling this big honey bear. Then he goes right back to fronting. Caruso is essentially using his quickness to bob and weave around the bigger player, so even if he ends up on Jokic's backside in space, he can swim around on the entry pass. Joker barely catches that and is swallowed by Chet's length, and the pass is nearly another turnover. And this time Caruso's grappling with Jokic and is quick enough for the steal, and this was part of a thunderstorm that blew the game wide open for OKC. Before Caruso switched onto Jokic, the Nuggets were actually rolling, taking an early 11-point lead. But this adjustment changed everything, taking away all the advantages Denver had built up in the previous games by just switching and sandwiching Jokic. With the help behind him, Caruso guarded Joker quite well in man situations, specifically out on the perimeter. Because of his quickness edge, he made it harder for Jokic to even dribble places, then switching the screens completely killed those openings that were there for Murray in prior games, and there's Chet roaming. This is probably the most significant Game 7 adjustment since 1968, when the Boston Celtics had the powerful Wayne Embry guard Wilt Chamberlain. I don't even think there's footage of that game. But this last-second move to get smaller players on the floor and completely nullify the Jokic-Murray two-man action turned an 11-point deficit into a 32-point shellacking, and it was made possible by the incredible Alex Caruso, who helped send the Oklahoma City Thunder to their first Western Conference Finals in 9 years. If you want to work in basketball, I have the place for you. It's Sports Business Classroom's immersive program inside Summer League in Las Vegas. Past instructors in this program have included Commissioner Adam Silver, Mike D'Antoni, and tons of other industry leaders in the NBA and in media. Sign up using the code GREATDAY for $300 off. There's more information in the description box below if you are interested. To support this channel, patreon.com/thinkingbasketball. That's where we have proprietary stats on teams and players throughout the year. We also have a Discord community, and you can get all of our extra video content over there, or sign up on YouTube as a member, where we also live stream the podcast. Thanks for watching all the way to the end on this one. Hope you enjoyed it and that you are having a great day.